let's let's kick it, as the fellas say. Let's kick it around. I think that one of the most disastrous things, perhaps the most disastrous things, is what happened here November 5th. I'm sorry, November 3rd, Election Day, whatever. And I know some people out there might be saying, "Oh God, he's on his Trump kick again." Well, we're not going to really. How should I put it? Not yes and not really. Okay, I tell you what I mean by that. This whole thing, what we have going on here in America with the hate, the ignorance, people being low information, people, all that stuff. And see, Trump is actually a symptom of the disease. He's not the disease, okay? Donald is not the disease. Problem is, he is a symptom of the disease. It's what we have in America today. It's a form of denialism. Like they say, the denial is a river in Egypt. Well, it's also a trademark of of what passes for the American intellect, unfortunately. You see, I'm of a group of people. I'm not going to give you my exact age because hopefully I'll eventually get a date. And I don't want ladies thinking I'm an old geezer. Well, I guess maybe I am, but I hope I don't look like one, put it that way. But I came through at a time when people have things. I think the biggest thing going on when I was coming through, it was about the whole racial equality thing. And that's an old story here in America. But, this business about people, being homeless, for example, I never knew. I never, it's like something was invented, right? I never knew the word homeless. I mean, I know people, got dispossessed, you didn't pay your rent for long enough, you went out, you were out in the street, right? But where you have whole colonies of homeless people, right? You didn't have that crap back in the 60s and early 70s. See, anytime somebody tries to rag about, oh, well, you think you're back in the 60s and early 70s and blah, blah, blah. Well, you know what I tell them? I say, yeah, but guess what? We didn't have homelessness in the 60s and 70s, right? The first time I went in the military was in 71. I was 17. So, no. In 1971, if you were walking down the street and you started talking to people about, what do you think Excuse me. Oh, God. I have this like a flake in my eye here. Always my right eye. I wonder if there's any significance to that, right? You know, it's my right eye. But anyway, if somebody had said, what are you going to do about the homeless situation in 1971, 72, people would have looked at you like, you know, what the hell is he talking about? I never heard the word homelessness until 1981. When was it? No, I take that back. Let me see, I got to the White House the end of 82. I got my first posting in 83, January of 83. Homelessness began to be an issue, I would say, July, August of 83 in the Reagan administration. I was there for that whole, whatever you want to call it. But that's the first time we became confronted with homelessness. Now, I got some news for all you folks out there, especially white working class guys and gals, but mostly white working class guys, and some of our, how should I say, less informed young black men, our young brothers, this whole business, you know, with Trump and it's kind of a smokescreen. See, the problem that we have in this country, and now I'm a registered Democrat, but there are times when Democrats fall short of the mark. And I don't know if it's a lack of courage or, I don't know, sensitivity. But hey, man, you need to speak truth to the people. And a lot of Democrats don't do that. Now, Bernie Sanders, I know he's not a Democrat, he's an independent. However, he caucuses with the Democrats. And I would follow Bernie Sanders too, just like I would follow my old skipper when I was on the aircraft carrier Nimitz, Captain Jack Batzler. I'll never forget him. We would follow Captain Jack to hell and back. And that's the same way I feel about Bernie Sanders. Because he says the things that people need to hear. Sometimes maybe they don't want to hear it. But I have found, as I have gone through life, that sometimes the things that people don't want to hear are the things that they need to hear the most. Our biggest problem in America today, it's not immigration. The right wing has basically programmed working class people to say, hey, immigration is the enemy. And immigrants are not the enemy. See, what we have a very screwed up distribution of wealth. And I can hear some of them out there now, oh, he's a commie. He's talking that socialist shit. Well, listen. I used to drive a car. And if I continue to reside in this country, I will again drive a car. Last car I had was a Nissan, right? Now I know a guy. He's a Republican, and he drives a Dodge. All right, but him and I, we both drive cars, but they're not the same car. You couldn't pay me. Well, as a matter of fact, you would have to pay me a lot to live in the old Soviet Union. Oop, forgive me, my age slipped. In the Russian Federation, okay? So I'm not saying that we should go and do what happened with Lenin. I'm not saying that we should do what Mao did in China. I'm not saying that, all right? Everybody has their own way of doing things, okay? It doesn't make it evil. You know, people, we really, and I know a lot of people are going to take this the wrong way, but I'm not here to lie, okay? I'm not here to talk BS either. The times are too serious. But we have, you know, people in this country, you're going to have to make up your minds. If you love this country, if you want a decent quality of life, not just for you, but for the people that come after you, your kids, your grandkids, your great-grandkids, if you want all of that, then damn it, the same energy, and please don't crucify me on this. The same energy that we put into following the NBA, the NFL, now soccer is on the rise, women's basketball. I love women's basketball. And not just because you get to see women running around in those cute shorts. I love women's basketball because I like the way they work together. I like the teamwork, see. But getting to the point, we do 1,000,001 different things because we enjoy them, pastime, baseball, right? And God, that was, because I started out with baseball long before I started playing basketball, see? And I know what it is to have your sports, your hobby, you follow your various teams, what have you. And that's cool, it really is. But as I said, if you want this country to remain yours, chasing out immigrants is not going to make America yours. But educating yourself, that will make it yours. Because you take the time and you sit down and you read about things. You read about how in the Great Depression, when it started in 29, we almost came close to losing the whole country. And then a very rich guy named Franklin Roosevelt, he had the sense and the foresight to realize, hey, listen, we got to start sharing the wealth around here. We have to do better than this. We can't have this small group of very rich people sitting on top and sucking up the resources of these masses of people out here. That's not going to work. As a matter of fact, that will cause this country to crumble. A democratic society cannot, it cannot keep functioning with a bunch of uneducated, desperately poor, unhealthy human beings. It's not going to happen. Thomas Jefferson said he said just about the same damn thing. And he started this United States business, right? So it's not just about, you're just a commie. That's crap. And one of the things that's happened, they have basically, when I say they, I'm talking about the leaders. How does Bernie say? The upper 1%, right? They've always been around. And when they smell, they're like beasts. When they smell weakness, they attack. See? They come out with these slogans. Oh, well, you want to take my money because I worked hard? And I was just, yeah, we do. Because you didn't get there by yourself. That's the first thing. Second thing, right? And I don't understand how business people, they haven't figured this out. If you run our society or any society in such a way that the mass majority of the people are like living under a huge boulder, right? How are they going to have the money to buy your products? I don't know if you've noticed it, but it's just like with cable. Cable is in big trouble because you have all these different inventions coming out, so that you can watch, TV and everything, and they give people more time to, make payments and stuff like that. They're on the right track because cable in this country is ridiculously expensive. But you see that's the problem. I'm starting to equivocate with drugs and money. They're both addictive as all hell. And it seems that these upper 1% or upper 2% folks, they don't give a damn who they hurt, who they crush, what they turn this society into, as long as they, get their, or can keep their 8 different homes and 3 yachts, essentially. And am I being hyperbolic? Am I making this stuff up? I wish I could say I was, but I'm not, unfortunately. Look, 3 people right here in the United States, you have 3 people that own as much wealth as over half of the bottom half of all the people that live in the United States. Right? That's dangerous. That is dangerous. This idea that, wealthy people, I'm wealthy, so I should be able to do whatever I want with my money and my resources. Well, the plain fact of the matter is it's not all your money, okay? You either sold something or you found something or you took something from someone else. And that's how you got it. Now, going to Donald, the Trumper, right? This guy was a millionaire when he was like 8 years old. And see, this is the problem. The powers that be, they fill the working class, especially working class white men, they fill their heads with so much bullshit. All right? And look, I know this is not 1850. Okay? This is not at a time when, well, a man, he gets up in the morning, he carries his hatchet, and he goes out to the forest, and he chops down trees and builds his own cabin, and shoots his own game. And yeah, okay. And once upon a time, in some parts of this what's called the United States, at one time that was true. That's how people lived. But time goes forward. It doesn't go backwards. See. Once we get, boom, we start to hit modern times, you have to start looking at what the individual does in relation to how it hurts or helps society as a whole. And see, the powers that be, the puppet masters, let's call them the puppet masters, they're so busy keeping us upset and outraged about trivial bullshit. We're so busy with that meanwhile, our quality of life is getting lower and lower and lower, and our middle class is every day, bye-bye, bye-bye, bye-bye. Why? Because we're so busy fighting and stabbing and shooting and yelling at each other about stuff that, hey man, it really ain't that big of a deal. I'll give an example. We know, because he said so. Unfortunately, a lot of us don't believe him when he says things. This guy, given the chance, the first chance he gets, he's going to take away our democracy, right? On the other hand, you got these fools out here talking about, these trans people. We have to have a war on trans people. How many damn trans people do you have in this country? We don't even have 1% trans people in America. We don't, 1%. We have less than 1%. What did the guy say? 0.007 or something like that? That's 1%. And damn it, look, let me tell you something. If you have a bunch of young men, right, they want to go and they want, excuse me, this damn allergy. But as I was saying, if you're telling me that you got a bunch of young men, right, they want to have their pecker, penis, whatever, they want to have it chopped off and become women. Oh my God. Listen, if that is what's happening in America, right, we got more problems than Donald Trump and trying to save democracy, all right? You have, you've always had guys that I guess they were insecure about their sexuality. And as we've seen it through history, occasionally, what you call them, hermaphrodites or whatever, yeah, they do pop up. Okay, and I mean, you're not like I say, if we come to the day when you have 3 million 3 million men walking down the street say, "Hey, I just cut my thing off and I'm becoming a woman." And look, I'm not trying to disrespect anyone, but I'm trying to show how ludicrous the things that are put out there to get working class guys, those damn Democrats. They want to turn my son Bill into Susie. I mean, it's crazy. We risk our democracy because of the fact that you do have people that, a very teeny tiny minority of people, they have issues, that they have to work out. And that's, God bless them. Between their priest, their doctor, and their parents, they'll figure it out. Nobody's trying, that's what really, I'll tell you quite frankly, that's what I used to almost worship Bill Maher, the comedian, right? But after he started coming on his show, and he was, that's the problem with the left, they want people to, use the same toilets and they want the boys to be turned into girls. Hey, man, what the hell are you talking about? And I'm still trying to find the name of that grammar school where they're trying to teach boys how to be girls. But see, what Mara did, he fed into that bullshit. See? He fed into that crap. And people just took it in their minds. Oh, yeah, well, the Democrats want everybody to change sexes. And they want the women to be men. And this is what you are going to flush your democracy down the toilet about? Huh? We don't have enough doctors in this country. I know, we live here in New York. And that's, that sounds like a crazy thing to say. But you go out in the rest of the country, go out there in the so-called heartland, in those rural areas, find you a doctor, find you a hospital. Good luck, right? Why aren't we talking about that? Why aren't we talking about the fact that not only are our kids not sufficiently educated for the world of the 21st century, I would say damn the majority of the adults in this country are not ready for it, intellectually and educationally. How come we ain't talking about that? How come we ain't talking about here in the United States of America, you got large parts of this country where you got food deserts. What the hell is a food desert? Well, food desert is where you cannot get enough of the nutritional calories into your diet. How come we ain't talking about that? But we got time to talk about a person who basically they're confused about their sexuality. So that's worth taking all the work of Washington and Jefferson and Lincoln and Frederick Douglass and Marcus Garvey and W.E.B. Du Bois and Franklin Roosevelt and Teddy Roosevelt and Jack Kennedy and Bobby Kennedy. Somebody, some people who are confused about their sexuality, that's where flushing our democracy in the toilet for. But see, this is the garbage that they fed the working class. And the black and Hispanic guys that was out there saying, yo, for Trump, they don't know nothing. Believe me, most of them don't. Ask them historically, what are the first 10 amendments, right? They couldn't tell you. Ask them, did blacks always serve the military? They might be black, but they don't know. Most of them. Talk to them. Don't take my word for it. I remember, and this was a while back, people in Howard University didn't know who the hell Martin Luther King was. So see, ignorance knows no color, and neither does truth. So that's something else that we need to keep in mind. But that's what's happened. That's what's happened in this country. We, working class people, and now I would say black and white, have been suckered. You have been suckered. And it ain't just Trump. Trump is nothing. It's what he represents. That's the danger. See, that is the danger. And you have to realize something. These Republicans who wanted to just start giving tax money to the wealthy and take your Social Security and give it to their wealthy donors on Wall Street, they don't give a good damn about you. They truly don't. And working class people, we need to wake up and realize that. And yeah, I say we. I ain't come from no damn ivory tower. I went from the tenement, and we graduated from the tenement to the projects. All right, so no, I'm not working class. My mom was a maid. Then she was because of World War II, she was able to get start getting work in the factories, right? And then when I came in the picture, she stayed home. And then after I was in the sixth grade, she became a school crossing guard. And my dad was a union organizer. He was a shop steward in the factory he worked in. And he was a Rockville Republican. And a friend of Malcolm X. So no, I didn't come out of anybody's damn fairy tale castle. Trump did. Damn sure did. But I didn't. But see, you're going to have people tell you that, well, Trump is great. And what I'm saying is crazy. But see, that's the problem. That is the problem. And it's weird. A lot of this is weird for me. Because unfortunately, you grow up in a certain environment. I don't remember people having to go apeshit because they couldn't get medical care. I didn't grow up in that kind of a country. It wasn't like that. And as I said earlier, I never heard of homelessness. I was a freaking grown man. I was about 24. Well, I was in my 20s. The first time I heard the word or the term homelessness. And that guy's veteran, Vietnam veteran, what was his name? The guy who led the move, Mitch Snyder, I think it was. Yeah. So all this stuff is new for me. And you had this business about minimum wage, right? That wasn't an argument in the 70s. There was no such argument about minimum wage. But now, working class people, how the hell, see, this this is the type of thing that, yeah, you got to laugh. Sometimes you got to laugh because it's so insane what we have allowed rich people to do to our country. You got to laugh, man. You got to. The government doesn't want to, doesn't put anything towards public education. That's what they're saying now. These clowns that you put in last month, they want to end the Department of Education. Working class person, how in the hell do you vote for somebody that says, yeah, we want Americans to be ignorant? And only a special few, religious nuts, right, and the upper class can get public education. That's one of the things that Thomas Jefferson fought for. And you voted for a guy who said we don't need that. We shouldn't have that. I just don't. See, that's that gam. This whole racial thing, and as far as Latinos voting for Trump, they get hung up on that macho because Trump is a man. He says, he means what he says. Okay. But suppose what he says is pure bullshit. Is that a good thing? I just don't freaking understand it. I know with many Hispanics, Latinos, if you're from the Iberian Peninsula, I think it's more proper to say a person is a Hispanic, okay? If you are from anywhere in the Caribbean, South America, what have you, you speak a Romance language, yes, Latino, all right? That's how I was taught, okay? Latinos need to understand something. You know how come we don't own Mexico? You know why? We stole enough for our settlers, white American settlers, to take over. There was a lot of objection at the end of the Mexican-American War because, and here goes that racism bug again, because a lot of white Americans felt that Latinos were bastardized people, right? See, that's that ignorance of racial hatred. The reason is because Latinos, for the most part, they are a mixed people. You have the indigenous people, you have Spanish people, and you have African people. Remember, the majority of people that look like me didn't come to what we now know as the United States. The majority of the people that look like me went to French and Spanish territories, all right? Not the United States of America. But see, if you don't freaking read, then you won't know that, see? So basically what happens, and I say this because of the fact, I had two cousins who were in the Territorial Assembly for Puerto Rico, right? My grandfather's Dominican. My father, born in the United States Virgin Islands, however, he was raised because his mom died shortly after he was born. Oh, by the way, she was from Haiti. And after she died, the family took my dad and sent him to his dad, who was Dominican and living in Santo Domingo. This was the time of Trujillo, see. So it's a mixed culture. But they come up here, Latinos come up here, and they see the race card everywhere they look. So a lot of them think, well, hey, I'm going to stick with the winners, It's kind of the same thing the Italians did, right? The Italians were not on the white list when they first began to immigrate here. 1870s, 1880s, they were trying to hang Italians. They were hanging Italians in Louisiana. And they were literally trying to chase them out of the state and hopefully out of the country, according to the governor at that time of Louisiana. See? But gradually, over a period of time, the Italians were able to get on the list of white people, and the Irish, well, actually the Irish first, then the Italians, were able to get on the list of white people. All you got to do is look it up. You got the damn computer. See, that's another thing that amazes me about people. Most of us who have some kind of means, either have a cell phone or we got a desktop computer or a laptop computer. Everything I'm saying you can look up for your damn selves. And it will show you, right? There was no big racial problems in the Caribbean until we had the United States, or as they say down there, as my pop side of the family would say, until the gringos came down and brought that crap with them. See? But I guess it is what it is. And I'm sorry to say that a lot of my Latino brothers and sisters, you really hurt yourselves. Seriously. Because I've known Donald Trump since I've been aware of Donald Trump since I was about 13. And he ain't never gave a damn about any Latino or any black person. Or, for that matter, any working class white guy, unless he needed them, right? Unless he needed them. Hell, every native New Yorker knows that, see? So the idea that you have some Latinos and blacks, I know they weren't the majority, but I mean, it was way more than it should be. How the hell are you going to vote for a guy that says you're garbage? That's something that blows my mind. See, I grew up around Latino, Spanish-speaking people. When I was a young child, I spoke some Spanish, myself. Oh, you know why I stopped? Because at that time in New York City, in the public schools, because even though I'm mostly Catholic school educated, I started off in public schools, and at that time, they were attacking Spanish-speaking kids, right? Basically saying that, well, if they speak, if they're bilingual, they'll basically grow up to be, retarded in so many words. And that's one of the things I am so angry with about my mom. Because, see, my mom, she was from Virginia, right outside of Richmond. And these people talking about, well, it's not good for the kids to be speaking Spanish, and she fell for that crap. So she started getting on my old man. Every time he would say a few words to me in Spanish, hey, knock it up, mama. And that's what happened. See, folks, this is America. That's the way the country was. And we seem to have people who are trying to push us back in that direction, that ignorant-ass direction. And it's primarily because they don't want you folks to realize that they are taking away your opportunity to be in the middle class, because they're killing the middle class. Jesus, what the hell is it going to take for people in this country to wake the hell up? I would like to know. You just don't get it. You got money to help settlers in Israel repossess land that belongs to somebody else, and basically, contemplate trying to start World War III, so you can have, so they can have their way. America has money. You be shocked. You average working class stiff would be shocked the amount of money. And they say, oh, that's because we're doing bad because we give all this money to other countries. Well, no, that's not the entire, no, that's not the real story. Okay? See, it's not like we choose to say we're going to defeat world hunger, all right? It ain't like that. You have to understand the amount of money that is made by people, selling, giving weapons, technical equipment, right? All kinds of stuff to that nonsense in the Middle East, right? And then they have the nerve to turn around and say, oh, well, the government can no longer afford to build housing. Huh? That's something else that kind of freaks me out, because you didn't have people talking that nonsense in the 70s when I was a kid. Didn't have it. Didn't hear about that kind of nonsense. That's what government is for. Government is there to help the people. That's why we live in a society. It's not every man for himself and God for us all. No. That's not how you run a democratic country. Quite frankly, that's not how you run any kind of country. Because if the government is not going to be of help and assistance in any of the important facets of life, then what the hell do you need a government for? If you're not going to help your people with their health care, if you're not going to help your people with their education, if you're not going to help your people with housing, who the hell are you? What the hell do I need you for? In America, the people are supposed to be the government. When the government helps with education, when the government helps with health care, when the government helps with housing, that's supposed to be just an example of the people helping themselves. Because technically, we are the government. But you have let these right-wing Republicans and these nuts, right, basically turn your brain inside out. And that is the reason we are in the crap that we are in. It's not an accident, okay? It isn't an accident that we're running around scared about our pensions, and we're running around scared about our Social Security, and we're running around scared about our health care, right? And we're starting to wonder, how are we going to maintain our intellectual and technical supremacy in the Western world if you got a bunch of people out there that can't even tell you who the first president was? I mean, can't you see that? And then here goes the real kick in the ass. The things that we need, Kamala Harris had a program for each one of those things. Yet, and this is what really pisses me off about the media. And I used to watch Morning Joe faithfully, right? And the rest of MSNBC. But you still have people coming, well, she really isn't talking to people enough. Huh? She really isn't laying out what she wants to do. Huh? And I'm like, are you watching television on Pluto some damn where? You didn't hear the woman, just take one example. You didn't hear the woman talking about some housing thing where first time home buyers will get like a grant from the government so they can buy housing and to help them accumulate real wealth. And that wealth can be passed on not just for maybe for their kids, but for the whole community that they live in. You know, I think sometimes ever play on the team? Grammar school, high school, college, or maybe when you're in the military. Those of you that were in the military, that's something else the right wing has screwed up. Well, when you're on a team of people, right, you have an objective. But you don't get into other people's business just because you guys are on the same team. Yet you know that there are times when, as a team, you have to stick together. Well, that's what America is. America is a team. I mean, I don't know. Some people call it a salad. Other people call it a melting pot. Whatever, right? But what America really is, it's a team. It has to be a team. Because we have to, we're supposed to be trying to reach certain objectives. We want to make sure that our people can have a decent amount of life and be able to be productive and enjoy that life. They need decent health care to be able to do that, right? It wasn't too long ago that an old man was somebody who was like 40, 41, all right? Yeah, back in the day when you were like 40, 41, hey man, that's when people started calling you pops. But that's changed a lot. That's changed a lot. You got 80-year-olds out there now, man. They cutting the, how you used to say it? They cutting the rug like they're, 30, right? But that's because America got the people, the best people, many of whom were from countries overseas. And we invested, we trained people, we invested in medical schools and medical technology. And that's why Americans were so damn healthy, back in the 60s and early 70s, right? The space race, Sputnik, right? Oh my God, the Russians, they got something. The people who put the first man-made object into outer space wasn't the United States. It was the Russians. And that's when the space race actually started. And that was like, what, 56 or something, I think. Yeah, like 56. That was game on. And we made sure that we were turning out enough educated people, excuse me, hey, we made sure we put out enough educated people to be able to do the math, to do the science, right? And we won the space race. We won it. Same, educational grants, right? Training. the investments in people. We did all that. And we did good. We won. But, but in the late 70s, and here they're going to begin. And let me say this. You probably don't know this, but you want to talk about progressives and left wing, okay, and socialists and all that good stuff, right? Hey, baby, those were Republicans. Yeah. Oklahoma, Oklahoma one time they had a whole, their state house was filled with who? Socialists, elected socialists. Because a lot of the folks there were farmers. Oklahoma, Wisconsin, right? Michigan. Socialists did well in those places because they were talking about, we got to do things for the average person, for the working person. It shouldn't flow from the top down. It flows from the bottom up. But apparently we forgot about that. So if you want to know why the country is in the state that it's in, that's why. Because of the fact that working class people allowed themselves to be hornswoggled and basically be made chumps out of. Like this election that just passed. Working class Americans allowed themselves to be played for chumps. I know it's difficult because of the fact that you got this information. You're constantly being bombarded. You got that Fox network. Fox was purposely created, right, to stop having millionaires being taxed on a fair basis. You know what? All you people that say, yeah, Trump will take us back to the great old days, the good old days. Okay, I'll go with you on that. Let's go all the way back. Let's go back and let's dig up the 1957, 58 tax rate, right? If you want to go back to the so-called America's green salad days, because that's why they were green salad days. Listen, I got to run. I want to thank you for tuning in. See you next time. Same time, same place, same channel.